Finally, Matt, I get to sit down with you and talk to you on the channel. First of all, let's begin with your career in football management prior to Bracknell Town and how things went for you whilst at Wealdstone and Notts County as assistant manager.
Yeah, so obviously I started at Wealdstone. I got brought in there as the assistant manager, and we had a lot of success, but we kind of had to go through the same process we're going through at Bracknell. We kind of inherited a group that was not the most professional at the time, and the senior lads were kind of a little bit different to what we wanted, so we had to change things and we had to suffer, and it took a while to change. But then once we did, and we changed things to how we want it to run and how the chairman at the time wanted it to run, we had a lot of success, and we just consistently overachieved. And we probably, well, I know we left the club in terms of probably the best position it's been for, I think it was like 35 or 50 years, I can't remember, the highest pace finish we had ever had, and not ever had, but in the last 50 years anyway. So I know they had won that league before, but that was a long time ago. So we had to evolve it and change it and make it more professional, which is what we're having to do with Bracknell. And then it was very similar at Notts County. We got bought by Notts County because they have a data model which said that we were the biggest overachievers in basically all of management in and around where they could recruit from, in terms of like our wage bill and resources at Wealdstone. So they bought us. And then we went in there and had to do quite a similar thing. It was a little bit different there because obviously there was already a culture and a full-time culture incorporated, but we had to change things. We suffered, we couldn't win a game to start off with. And then obviously we changed things to how we wanted it. We recruited and we worked on our patterns of play and our structure. And then at the time when I left in January, we were the second best team in the league. So like I say, every club I've left, I feel like I've left it in a better place, and I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I've had. So this is following a very similar pattern in that if we want long-term success, then we have to suffer in the short term. So yeah, I can be very calm because I've seen it, how it plays out, whereas for other people they're obviously worried because results aren't good at the moment, but I know eventually it'll pick up and we'll fly from that moment.
You've been with us for over a month now. How have you found being a manager so far?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been frustrating as well because obviously I wanted to get better quickly, and it hasn't yet in terms of the actual results. But in terms of transitioning into being a manager, I was very, very lucky at my previous places that I got given a lot of responsibility in terms of the way we worked, and I'm very grateful for that, and I'm proud to have been trusted with that at the clubs I was at. So yeah, in terms of being a manager, it's not really been massively different, but obviously it was never for me about being a manager, being an assistant manager. I enjoyed being an assistant manager as well. But sometimes things change and you need a new challenge, and I've done that for 5 years, and I felt like it was the time to go into management myself. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Like I say, I'd like to get to the kind of progress to have been accelerated, but it's been very difficult in terms of dealing with an embargo, and it's been a massive learning curve as well. So I'm certainly not perfect, and every challenge that we faced here I think is a learning process and something that you take away from it and you use in the future. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it, but I'd like to start picking up a few wins now.
It's been a far from ideal start. How do you plan on turning results around, and what are your realistic aims for the end of this season and then next season?
Yeah, it's definitely been far from perfect start, but it's also been a very difficult start for us to come in as well, having an embargo and things like that. It kind of rendered the first 2 or 3 weeks a little bit kind of, not pointless, but it was very difficult because we had one sub and things like that. So it was just firefighting from the minute that we walked in the door. But I think what you see now is the culture is changing. We're getting people, obviously Dave Hill's come in from Farnborough, so he's left the team in a higher division to come here. We've got somebody coming in next week that's been working in the National League and EFL into the strength and conditioning role. So yeah, the club's progressing and we're going in the right direction, but of course everybody just cares about results, and they are the most important things, and we need to change that around. Now, the way you change that around is like work into a process, into an identity, which is what we're doing. We're instilling a whole new culture. Like really, your recruitment and the way you play should be done in the off season, which is 6 weeks, and then pre-season, which is 6 weeks. So that's 12 or 13 weeks of work that we've tried to cram into 10 days or 2 weeks. So of course you're going to get hiccups, but the vision from the owner, from us, is to eventually get to a point where we're running in a professional environment in terms of it's a performance-based environment and everything's performance-based. So my aims for this season is to stay up. That's the reality. When you're in the position we're in, it'd be ludicrous for me to say anything else. So we have to consolidate in this league, but we also need to put things in place which can hold us instead long term. So that hopefully will be with a view to competing next season to try and get in the playoffs or even get out of the league automatically. But to get there, we need to do a lot of groundwork and put a lot of foundations in. So that's what we're doing at the moment, and that's how things will change.
How are you finding lower level non-league football in terms of fan engagement and the connection between players and fans?
I really enjoy it. Obviously at Wealdstone it was very similar in terms of we had like the social club and the bar, which was always vibrant and you know everybody basically, and I do enjoy that part of non-league because I think it's like real football and you connect with people, and it's kind of what we all grew up kind of being around and playing in and stuff like that. So I've got to be honest, the corporate side of football I don't enjoy, and I think the higher you go you become more detached from fans and stuff like that, and I don't enjoy it. So I like obviously speaking to people like yourself and fans. I'll always try and give my time to fans when I see them and speak to them at games and stuff like that. So I do enjoy it, and I think it's fundamentally kind of the identity of our football, English football. So it's disappointing that obviously football changes at a higher level, but I understand why. But I still think we need to protect that at our level and make sure that people are, like even little things like my nieces that come along when we were at Notts County, they don't get to see the players or speak to the players or be around the players, whereas now they come along and they come in the office and they're part of the football club and they can engage with people as well. So I was a kid one day and my dad actually played for Chertsey, and I used to go down and watch him and talk to the players, and you develop a bond and you develop a relationship, and for me that's what football is about, is people and the relationships that you build. So yeah, I love it, and I think if I could extrapolate it out to the higher levels of the game, then I would, but we can't do that for certain reasons with the game, the way the game's going there. But yeah, I think it's something we need to protect, and I think it's the great thing about non-league football.
Lastly, your post-Gloucester interview went viral in the week, hitting over 8 million views. What I saw was a passionate response in the video. Do you think some have overreacted to what you said, particularly about fitness and drinking in what is a very competitive step-free league?
Yeah, I always think it's hard to say they've overreacted, because people can react however it kind of resonates with them and is applicable to their life. So I think the reason why it's got the traction it's got isn't because really what I said was that controversial. I think it's just sparked a social debate of probably a debate that was rumbling in this league and these levels before, because this level is becoming a lot more professional, and like last week Gloucester are full time. So I think that's why it's gained the traction it's got. Everyone's entitled to their opinion and everybody sees it differently. Fundamentally, as a football club, we want to become more professional, because if you speak to anybody at the football club, and I did that when I came in, they all said that the culture and environment was the reason why they were struggling. So it would only make logical sense to try and change that. And that's what the owner wants, and that's why we've been recruited, because of where we've worked and the way that we work and the professionalism that we want. So yeah, I don't actually think the concept of what I said is really up for debate. I think if you went to a restaurant and you're paying £50 for a steak, you would expect a level of service. I think if you go to McDonald's and you spend £4 on a meal deal or £5 on a meal deal, you don't expect a waiter to be there serving your drinks and pouring your drinks and constantly waiting on you. So until you understand exactly what we're paying and how we're running it and what we're supplying for the players, it's very hard for people to have an opinion. But I understand the social debate that it's sparked, and for me it's all crazy because so much gets lost and the narrative changes and all of this. But this is the world we live in. I don't massively like surrounding myself with it, because I don't think it's always the greatest thing to debate in that way when you don't know the ins and outs of stuff. I always take the position of, if I don't know enough about it, then what's the point in me commenting, because my opinion is worthless. So I understand that we live in a world where everybody gives their opinion now, and like I say, for me, we just need to move on and keep focusing on what we do, and if people want to talk about it, they can. And the thing is as well, other football clubs have success with it. So this is a football club, obviously I know Chertsey well, this is a football club that has had a lot of success from that sort of culture, and that is, I would never change that. I would say, yeah, keep doing it. Wealdstone kind of, we had that type of culture a little bit, where we had the social club and all of that. If that's giving you success, then work how you work. I would never say that that's the wrong way to go, but when I extrapolate that to our situation, that was our biggest hindrance, so I have to change that. So, like I say, I understand why it's become, well, why it's got the traction it's got, but I don't think what I said was massively controversial. But anytime you show emotion and passion and things like that, it will gain views. So I get it, but for me now, it's just we move on and we focus on football.
Thank you very much.
No, brilliant. Thank you, Matt.